Welcome to GausRoth Tutorials. I'm GausRoth, and today I'm going to show you how I created my robot companion in Derelict. So basically what this guy does is he will just follow me throughout the level, and he will follow me on the X, Y, and Z. So if I do jump, he will go up and down. And the reason I have that is because I have different levels of the ship in Derelict. When I enter the world, he will start following me. And when I leave the world, he'll go back to his start position. So if I go into build mode, you can see him going back to his starting position. Alright, so now we are going to recreate this guy. We're going to get rid of this light because we don't need it. And we're going to get rid of this script because we don't need it. And we're going to make sure it's right. Yep, the Z's in the right spot. And we will group this. So now we have our robot companion, and we need to create a script gizmo. So go to our gizmos, grab a script, and we need a couple variables. So let's move this and go over to our variables tab. Under new variables, we need a couple vectors and a couple number variables. So let's make the vectors first. This one is going to be destination. The next one will be direction, and then the last vector will be start position. Our two number variables will have a number for distance, so this will be the stopping distance, and then our move time. So when world is started, we need to set ownership. So we'll go over to action, scroll all the way down, scroll up just a little bit, and transfer ownership of object. We will transfer ownership of self, so under values, value input, grab self, and we will transfer ownership to server player. And then we have to set our start position, so we will go to values, scroll up, under values set to, we will set our start position to the position of the object. So under operators, scroll down to object, transform, position of object, and self. So now when the world starts, its starting position will be set to wherever he's at on world start. Just to make this simple, we're going to do it on world enter. So we'll go under events, scroll down to player events, and then when player enters world and when player exits world, we're going to transfer ownership. So transfer ownership of self to the player when the player enters the world, and then we'll transfer ownership back to server player when the player exits the world. Now the move script will be in the on update, so we'll go to events, scroll all the way up, and then update events. We'll bring in on update, and I'm just going to do a quick check. So we're going to make sure that owner of self does not equal server player. So let's go over to operator, scroll all the way up, grab a does not equal, and we're going to check ownership of self. So under actions, scroll all the way, I was already there. Grab owner of object. So if owner of object self does not equal server player, now we can do something. So we will set our destination. So go to values, grab set to, and we will set our destination vector to the position of the player, of the owner. So we're going to go to operators and then go down to player, and we'll get position of player, and we'll throw in owner of self. Now we can pick head, foot, torso, right hand or left hand. I'm just going to use the head. Now we have to set the direction. So we'll go over to values, grab set to, and we'll grab our direction. So we're going to go over to operators. We'll scroll to vector math. We'll grab our normalize. And it's going to be our destination, so the position of the owner's head, minus the position of the object. So we need to find a subtraction symbol. We'll throw it in there, and it's going to be our destination that we just set minus, go down to object transform, and it's going to be the position of self. So that will be our direction. So next we are going to move. So we'll go over to motion, and then we're going to move to over time. We're going to move self, the robot, to our destination over our move time. And then we're going to rotate. So we'll go over to motion. And we're going to rotate to over time. And we're going to use look at. So we're going to go over to operators, go down to vector math, find our look at, and we're going to look towards our direction. So let's go to our object, and we could get our upward direction of object, and we could pass in self, and we could pass in our move time. Now if I go over here and attach our script, we could set our move time to something like 0.5, and when let's clear this out and start it. When I go into preview mode, now it's going to follow me, but it's coming right to my face, and it's actually pushing me at the other one's coming too. Now how you notice the other one isn't getting this close, so because that one has a distance factor, so we're going to add that quick. What we're going to do is we're going to set our distance again. So we're just going to duplicate this, and we're going to set our distance to distance minus, so grab another subtraction, and we're going to set it to our direction times our distance variable. So we need a multiplication, and we're going to put our direction in, and then we're going to put in our distance. Now, remember, we're setting direction to a normalized destination minus position. So what normalized does is it returns a vector. It has the same direction, but it has a length of just 1. We're setting our destination to destination minus direction times distance, direction being 1. However, we can't just drop in our because distance is a number variable, and we're going to get a type error. So we have to have our direction, which is a vector, times our distance, so that way we get a vector, and it subtracts that from our distance, so it'll be that far away. So if we set our distance to say something like 2, and I see here, clear, pause it, clear, reset it quick, and go in, now he is that far away from me. So if I go far away, and now they're at a different distance because this one has a different distance set up, and then this one is farther away because of its distance. And that is how I do the follow script for my companion in Derelict. However, if you wanted to do something like enemies, what you could do is add like a projectile launcher to his face, and then once it's in range, you can fire off the projectile, or if it's like an NPC, once it's in range, you could have it, give a pop-up for dialogue, or you could actually have a text box show up that you can read. Because if you notice, that one returned to its start position. This one just kind of stopped moving. So what we need to do is, under our if statement, we're going to grab an else. So we're going to go to events, grab an else, and we're just going to copy and paste all this stuff down, except for this code block, because we want it to go back to its starting position, not have that distance in there. So we're going to copy all this down, and then instead of head position of owner, we will grab our start position. Now, if I stop, clear that, if I go in, he's going to follow me, and when I go back out, now he returns to a starting position. And that is it. So let's go over the script. So when world is started, let's go over the variables first. So I have 5 variables. We have a destination vector, a direction vector, a starting position vector, and then a distant number variable and a move time number variable. When world is started, we're transferring ownership of self, the robot, to the server player. We're setting start position to position of self. When the world is entered by the player, we're transferring ownership of self to player. When world is exited by player, we're transferring ownership of self to server player. Now on update, if owner of self does not equal server player, we are setting the destination to the head position of the owner. We are setting the direction to the normalized vector destination minus position of self, so we're returning this direction with a length of 1. Then we're setting destination again to destination minus direction times distance, which allows it to stop at the distance number from the target. We're then going to move self to that destination over move time. We're going to rotate self to the look towards direction with upward direction of self. So basically we're telling it to look at where you're going. Basically what I tell my kids all the time, watch where you're going. So if the owner of self is the server player, we're going to set destination to the start position. We're going to set direction to normalize destination position of self. We're going to move to that destination over move time, and then we're going to rotate self towards that look direction so that it looks where it's going. And that is all I have for the companion script. So let's just change the name of this script to companion, and yeah, we can look over our object panel. It is set to animated. It has to be set to at least animated for this to work because we're manipulating the object. Attributes, nothing out of the ordinary. Physics, none. More is the default options, and then the only thing we set on, let me close this and open it back up. There it goes. The only thing we set on the script is our move time and our destination. So if you want it to move slower or faster, you can adjust this variable. If you want it to stop closer or farther away, you can adjust this variable. And then these get set via the script. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this video, or have suggestions for a future video, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you learned something or if you liked the video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified of my future videos. I'm trying to come out with a video at least once a week. My target date is usually Mondays, but this Monday I had a lot of errands and I was sick. I'm a little sick now, so that might be why I sound like this. But yeah, thanks for watching and have a good one.